It all began so quietly that no one realized how huge it actually was. Early one icy December morning, while London was still asleep under a thin layer of frost, a single new line suddenly showed up on Buckingham Palace's official website. No press conference, no fancy carriage, no royal fanfare, just one small sentence hidden among the rest. But wow, that one sentence shook the entire country. Phones started blowing up. Editors leaned forward. Morning show anchors suddenly got that stop everything look. Because that tiny line wasn't normal, it was the palace finally speaking about the two most talked about royal children ever, Archie and little Lilibet. For years, people whispered and guessed. Stories spread everywhere: secret baptisms, missing photos, hidden documents, you name it. Some said the palace was covering things up. Others claimed Harry and Meghan were keeping the kids out of sight for safety. And just like that, one simple update turned all those rumors into a storm. And then came the conspiracy crowd, the people who could turn a shadow into a scandal and a random photo into proof. But that December morning, everything changed. The frost was still shining on the palace gates. The winter sun wasn't even fully up. And suddenly, for the first time ever, Buckingham Palace finally spoke directly about the children. And trust me, this wasn't some casual update. Every word, every comma, was chosen like a weapon. Behind that calm royal statement were years of silent tension. Tension between William and Catherine. Tension from Anne's blunt warnings. Tension from Camilla's careful caution. Because this wasn't just about two kids. It was about the monarchy trying to survive in a world where rumors go viral in minutes. See, the real story didn't start with that website update. No, it started years ago with silence. When Archie was born, everyone expected the classic royal moment: parents on the hospital steps smiling, cameras flashing, the baby wrapped in white. But instead, Harry and Meghan kept it private. No big reveal, no photo shoot, nothing. Just a short announcement, and then silence. And when Lilibet was born in California, it happened again. A sweet statement, then total quiet. In a royal family built on traditions and public moments, that silence was like lighting a match in a dark room. People noticed immediately. People were confused. And in today's digital world, when something doesn't add up, the internet doesn't wait for answers, it creates its own. And wow, did people start creating stories. Every missing photo became proof. Every quiet moment became evidence. People zoomed into screenshots, analyzed the lighting, compared faces, even drew timelines like they were solving a crime drama. The whole internet turned into one giant royal detective board. But inside the palace? No one was laughing. They were worried. King Charles, new to the throne, believed in the old rules: stay silent, stay dignified. But William, he saw the danger early. He knew how fast digital rumors could explode. And Catherine? She took it to heart. For her, kids should never be dragged into drama. Seeing Archie and Lilibet's names thrown around online like TV characters truly hurt her. She didn't stay quiet either. She told Charles directly, if we don't define the truth, others will. Camilla played the strategist. She feared that saying anything might make it worse, add fuel instead of putting out the fire. So the palace waited. And waited. Until waiting became the real danger. Because silence might have worked years ago, but not when social media can create a storm overnight. By early December, it was obvious things had gone too far. The first serious warning came to William from the palace's digital monitoring team, and it changed everything. What started as tiny, fringe rumors had exploded into thousands of viral posts, strange investigations, and comment sections full of anger. And honestly, some of it looked believable. Edited timelines, carefully chosen photos, confident voices claiming the palace was hiding something. The scary part wasn't the conspiracy kids. It was the older audience, the people who grew up trusting the monarchy, who were now confused, suspicious, even hurt. They couldn't understand why there were no photos, no ceremonies, none of the usual traditions. To them, the silence looked like secrecy. Catherine saw it happening. One evening, while going through charity documents, an aide handed her a stack of press clippings. But these weren't tabloids or gossip. These were serious editorials questioning the children's royal status. Why hasn't the palace clarified? Why all the secrecy? The tone of doubt in those headlines made her blood run cold. She understood instantly, this wasn't gossip anymore. This was becoming a threat to the monarchy's credibility. And noticed it too. One night, she stormed into Charles's study and slapped a printout of a viral post on his desk. The fireplace popped behind her as she said, "They're talking about the children like they're theories, not human beings." Charles stared at the page, realizing exactly what the palace had done, or more accurately, what they had failed to do. Their silence had created a monster. But the final push didn't come from the press or even from Anne's fiery warnings. It came from inside the palace. During public events, staff started overhearing quiet questions from everyday people. Are Archie and Lilibet officially recognized? Will they ever appear with the family? Do they even have titles? None of the questions were cruel, just confused. But confusion mixed with misinformation becomes dangerous. When William read the latest internal report, something shifted inside him. "We've let this go too far," he told Catherine softly that night as the lamp glowed beside them. "They're just children," she whispered. "They shouldn't have to carry all this." And that's when the decision was made. The palace would finally speak. Meetings followed, private, tense, cold. Inside Buckingham Palace's thick walls, the atmosphere felt historic and heavy. The fireplaces burned, but the air still felt freezing. Charles read new reports with a sinking heart. Camilla rolled her eyes at each update, muttering, "The more we respond, the bigger this gets." But even she couldn't deny it anymore. The headlines had escalated. Some writers accused the palace of hiding something. Others claimed the silence itself was proof of wrongdoing. International outlets even suggested the crown had doubts about Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy. That was the breaking point. When the crisis meeting finally happened at Windsor, it felt like a scene from a royal drama. Charles sat at the head of the table, tired but steady. William looked focused and unshakable. Catherine was calm, elegant, but burning with purpose, and stood with her arms crossed, ready for battle. Camilla arrived last, giving everyone that sharp, calculating look that could cut through stone. Charles began quietly. "We're facing a problem not of guilt, but of misunderstanding." Catherine leaned forward, her voice firm. "Then let's fix the misunderstanding." Camilla jumped in instantly. "We cannot respond to every rumor. It makes us look weak." William fired back. "This isn't just a rumor. This is about protecting the truth and protecting children." And nodded. Silence isn't dignity anymore. It's neglect. And the room erupted, tradition versus modern reality, caution versus compassion. Voices rose, arguments looped in circles, until finally Charles lifted his hand. "Prepare the statement," he said. And just like that, history shifted. Night settled over London like a velvet curtain, and the palace glowed softly under the warm lights of its gates. Outside, the world continued unaware that behind those ancient walls, the royal family was preparing to release a statement that would silence millions, even if only for a moment. The timing was no accident. It was set for just after dusk, perfect for dominating late-night British headlines and afternoon talk shows in America. Oh, every second of it was calculated. They knew exactly how global the storm had become, and this time, they were ready to face it head-on. Inside the palace, the tension was so thick you could almost feel it in the air. Staff rushed through the halls, whispering updates. Advisors checked every single detail, punctuation, commas, capital letters, because one wrong word could spark another week of chaos. Charles read the draft quietly, the lamplight highlighting the exhaustion on his face. Catherine read it too, her heart pounding with relief. It wasn't defensive. It wasn't emotional. It was simply clear. Finally, the truth was being spoken openly. And when the alert went live, it felt like the entire world paused for half a heartbeat. Phones buzzed everywhere. News anchors stopped mid-sentence to announce breaking updates from Buckingham Palace. The statement confirmed firmly, gracefully, that Archie and Lilibet were legitimate members of the royal family, fully recognized and fully protected by the crown. It gently reminded the world that children, especially royal ones, deserved protection, not persecution. Simple, elegant, incredibly powerful. Within minutes, everything exploded. Cameras swung toward Buckingham Palace. Reporters rushed to the gates, umbrellas up as the mist thickened. Flashlights sparkled against the frost as the media swarmed, hungry for every detail. Broadcasters who had spent months breaking down every rumor suddenly stumbled over their words, scrambling to keep up. For the first time in years, the palace had taken back control of the story, and it shook the world. Some commentators said the statement was long overdue. Others said the palace had never done anything this bold before. And the people reacted with shock, guilt, and awe. Older viewers, the same ones who had unknowingly slipped into online conspiracies, felt a wave of relief. Many admitted they had doubted too quickly, letting silence turn into suspicion. The anger faded. What remained was a long, deep sigh, like the entire country finally exhaled after holding its breath for years. Across the ocean in California, Harry and Meghan read the same statement. It wasn't an apology, not even close. But it held something they never expected: acknowledgement. For years, their children's place in the royal story had been left blurry, unspoken, almost suspended in air. Now, for the first time, it was written clearly in royal ink for the whole world to see. Meghan felt tears gather in her eyes, quiet tears of vindication, of finally being seen. Meghan whispered, "They're not ghosts anymore." Harry stood beside her, nodding slowly. Whatever hurt existed between him and his family, this moment gave him a small, unexpected piece of peace. By the next morning, every newspaper from London to Los Angeles had the story splashed across the front page. Some headlines read, "Palace ends years of speculation." Others said, "Royal children finally acknowledged." The entire narrative changed overnight. And the irony? After years of silence, a single clear paragraph was all it took to end the chaos. Even the monarchy's harshest critics admitted this was one of the most transparent, human moves the palace had made in decades. But inside the palace, emotions were still swirling. William felt calm, but alert. He watched not just the news, but the public's reaction, the shift in tone, the change in how people were finally speaking. For the first time in years, older audiences who had grown cynical were commenting things like, "It's about time the palace spoke up." He realized this wasn't just about Archie and Lilibet. It was about rebuilding trust. Catherine felt it even deeper. She wasn't thinking about headlines at all. She was thinking about two little children whose names had been tossed around online like pieces in a game. The idea that they'd one day grow up and find all that nonsense broke her heart. At least now, she told William softly, they'll see someone tried to protect them. It wasn't emotional. It was simply necessary. Long overdue. Done, she told her aides the next morning. For her, the meaning was simple. The monarchy had finally done what it should have done months ago. She respected William and Catherine even more for standing firm. And this wasn't bowing to pressure. This was restoring order. But Camilla couldn't shake the unease. The media had already started painting her as the hesitant one, the voice of resistance. It wasn't entirely fair, but since when had the press cared about fairness? She knew what that kind of shadow felt like. It lingered. It whispered. And she could feel it curling around her name again. By evening, the palace was wrapped in a heavy silence, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that sits in the eye of a storm. The world outside was quieter, yes, but everyone inside knew this was only the beginning of a new kind of royal reality. An era where one tweet could spark a crisis. One rumor could rewrite perception overnight. And yet, this silence felt right. The monarchy had finally spoken clearly, not for reputation, not for optics, but for its children. For two young souls who never asked to be part of history, but were born into its brightest, harshest spotlight. That winter night, as soft snow drifted over London, the palace stood steadier than it had in years. The golden gates glowed. City lights flickered across frozen sidewalks. And far away, two little children slept peacefully, unaware that the storm surrounding their names had finally calmed. For once, the royal story didn't end with scandal or spectacle, but with something rare in that world: truth. Because sometimes silence isn't grace. Sometimes silence is the absence of courage. And on that night, the palace finally found its voice.